Hey, what's goody, Frye gang? And well, what did I say? Okay, I tried to tell y'all and y'all did not want to listen. I've been saying for months there was never going to be a content extension or third kits, and everyone was, not everyone, but a lot of people were calling me a doom poster. I was just a doomer. I was being overly negative, all this and that, how I was wrong and everything. And then now look where we are. The new quote season has started. And where's the third kits? Where's the new maps? Where's the content extension that everyone was so coped up on saying that we were going to get? We weren't going to get anything, and it was kind of obvious from the beginning that we weren't going to get a content extension or third kits especially. I don't know why people are so hooked up on third kits so badly. It was kind of obvious it wasn't going to happen within these last couple months. I mean, it was kind of already set in stone that it wasn't going to happen. One thing, like I had mentioned way back before I made a different video on if there was going to be a content extension, and in there I still said no, it's not going to happen. And one piece of evidence is this past season that we just had. Wellstring and Decapitator both got their second kits in that season. So they got their second kits in the season they debuted in. So both kits in the same season. Why would they be doing that if you're going to have a content extension? Why wouldn't they just release it within the next season along with some third kits? Okay, and like I said, if Nintendo was going to drop another season like with a content extension or third kits, they would have announced that. I highly doubt they would just shadow drop it out of nowhere. I'm sure they would announce it with maybe a trailer on YouTube or in a tweet, something. I highly doubt they would just shadow drop it. Everything they've been doing with Splatoon 3, they have announced that they were going to do. So why would they just shadow drop something this huge? That doesn't make any sense. Okay, and a piece of evidence I guess people were using to like debunk it is like, oh well, they said it, Bone Rattle, they said it was the last Salmon Run map, but they didn't say this was the last season. They didn't say Lemuria was the last stage, last map. Well, technically, yeah, but Nintendo doesn't have to come out and outright say this is the final whatever for it to be the final whatever. All right, yeah, sure, they didn't say it was the final one, but they also didn't say that anything else was coming after it. And a lot of stuff I saw, people are just like confirmation bias as to why there would be a content extension or third kits. And the fact that people now are still crying about third kits is just really, it's kind of frustrating to see, because, and this isn't some like big ego trip thing. It's more of like, I'm trying to explain something and no one's listening. I'm trying to tell you and you are not listening. It's so frustrating. But I don't really know what y'all expected. The way Nintendo has been handling Splatoon 3 has been very, very weird. At least compared to Splatoon 2, it's been very weird. Every single weapon has a second kit, and they release a certain amount each season perfectly. They knew what they were doing this whole time, all right? They released a certain amount each season so that the final season would give the weapons their final kit. So every season got around, like 8 to 10 kits per season, okay? And this past season, all the rest of the 8 weapons got their kits, and then the 2 new weapons got their kits in the same season. And then what? Dowser Dualies, Swerbos, and Recycled Brella. Those were 2 new weapons that we got in the season previously before the Sizzle season. And then they got their second kits immediately after in this Sizzle season, along with 2 new weapons being the Wellstring and Decapitator, both debuting in that season, as well as getting their second kits in that season. So they're rounding everything out to give all the weapons their second kits. And another thing, why are people so hung up on third kits? Splatoon 3 already has more weapons than Splatoon 2 does, even with its third kits. Even with Splatoon 2's third kits, Splatoon 3 has more weapons just with its second kits. So I don't really understand. We already have more weapons anyway, and we have quite a lot of new weapons too. Every class got a new weapon, Okay, we got Big Swig. There was the Swerbo Dualies. There we got 2 new classes with the Stringers and Splatoonists, each having 3 different kinds. We got Recycled Brella, Paintbrush. We got Nova. Every class got a new weapon. Plus, we got 2 new classes of weapons. And overall, Splatoon 3 has more kits than Splatoon 3 has more weapons than Splatoon 2 does. And the funny thing is, most people, or a lot of people crying about no third kits, wouldn't even touch the third kits anyway. They might play 1 or 2 and then not touch the rest of them. So like, what are you even complaining about? And another thing that kind of just cemented that we weren't getting a content extension or third kits was around say like a week and a half before a new season starts, Nintendo will drop a trailer for the next season showcasing the new maps and all the new weapons and everything. We never got any of that here in Sizzle season, and then once they drop the trailer, they'll spend the rest of the week just like making tweets about all the kits. That never happened. All we've been getting for like the last 2 weeks of Sizzle season was Grand Fest. Just they've been building up and hyping up Grand Festival, giving us like updates and everything for it. So I mean, I don't know why people expected to get a content extension or at least third kits while all of this is happening. They're already putting in quite a bit of work developing Grand Fest. So working on third kits at the same time would be like kind of a lot, and creating third kits isn't as simple and easy as you think. Like creating weapon kits isn't as easy as you think. It's like, oh, how hard is it to just slap a new sub special on it, put a sticker on it, and then ship it out? It's not that hard. It is that hard. There was this tweet I saw because Octa had dropped a video about how the Grand Fest announcement should have been, something like that, and there was a tweet going over like all the stuff she had to go through just to get that to work, and it was very difficult because of the hardware of the Switch. So creating new kits isn't as simple as just putting a new sub and special on it and then shipping out. It's okay, it's not. The Switch is 7 years old now. It's a pretty old hardware, so there's a lot of limitations that the developers have to actually work with here. All right, so I haven't read the tweet or watched the explanation or anything in depth, so I'll link the tweet in the description, but I'll show like a screenshot of it to kind of help show you what I'm talking about. But another thing about Grand Fest, people were saying that this wasn't the final fest, which I don't know how any rational person would believe that. If you believe that this isn't the final fest, after look, even in the news article, I think there's a news article on the Switch homepage thing in the Switch news. They said something about our final festival, something like that. So there, hard confirms right there if you still don't believe it. But if you don't believe that this is the final fest, then you have to be under the age of 4, because there's absolutely no way. Why would they go this big and this hard for Splatfest if it wasn't the final one? That makes no sense. All right, not only, all right, they've been promoting the absolute hell out of Grand Festival. Okay, all 3 idol groups are coming together in one huge Splatfest. They're creating an entirely new area in the game just for this Splatfest. All right, a whole new stage for Tricolor just for this Splatfest. Why would they be doing all of this for a Splatfest that isn't the final one? That would make absolutely no sense. And people kept saying, oh, well, they could have reruns of previous Splatfest. I understand. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying this is the final fest, but most likely not the final Splatfest, if that makes sense. Okay? This is like the final fest, but it's probably not going to be the final Splatfest in Splatoon 3 as a whole. They might rerun some Splatfest. That is also highly unlikely, since the reason why Splatoon 2 got reruns of its Splatfest after its final fest was because of COVID, and the game was already massively popular, so they're rerunning Splatfests because of COVID, and everyone was stuck inside, not really having anything to do. So I don't see why people are trying to use that as a valid argument as to why Grand Festival isn't the final fest. Okay, Splatoon, after the final Grand Festival, we might not even get any reruns because, like I said, the only reason 2 got reruns was because of COVID. COVID's not an issue anymore, so there's no reason to rerun Splatfest. And the way they've been handling Splatoon 3, it seems like they're trying to wrap up the game as tightly as they can, maybe to start working on the new Splatoon game for the next console. Not a Switch 2, by the way. There's no confirmation that it's another Switch. I cannot stand when people call it a Switch 2. The new Nintendo console, they could be working on the next Splatoon game for that, or they could be taking a break on Splatoon for now and working on a new Animal Crossing or something, okay? Splatoon's not over, but it seems like they're kind of wanting to wrap up Splatoon 3 pretty quickly so they can start working on a new Splatoon game or whatever for the next console. So everything that's happened in Splatoon 3 has led up to the fact that there wasn't ever going to be a content extension. They promised 2 years, and that's what we got. If they were going to do a content extension, I'm very sure they would have announced that, or third kits, I'm very sure they would have announced that. They promised 2 years, we got our 2 years, or the end of Sizzle season that just ended would mark just what, a week and 2 days? Under 2 years. So we're just a little over a week under 2 years with the end of the season. And that's something else that I'm really confused about. Unless I'm misunderstanding, people kept saying that that last season wouldn't have marked 2 years. Like, do you not understand the whole season runs through all 3 months? Like, the ending of the season would mark 2 years, not the beginning when it started way back in fucking July. Okay? Obviously, the season isn't just the first day that it starts and then the rest of it is nothing. So people keep saying, oh, well, it won't mark 2 years with the final season. It's not September. Yes, it would mark 2 years, or just under 2 years. So they think, oh, well, they'd have to do a whole nother season to mark 2 years. Well, no, because then that would go over 2 years. Maybe I'm just arguing about semantics right now, but I don't know. It's just kind of frustrating that I've been this whole time trying to explain that there will be no content extension or third kits, and people just refused to listen. Mind you, it's not everyone, but it is a bit frustrating when I'm trying to explain this and they call me doomers and overly negative. There's just no winning. There is just no winning. But I just needed to rant about that for a second because it's been on my mind all day and I really just needed to get it out. But yeah, I tried to tell y'all there was no content extension or third kits, and now look who gets the final laugh. Anyway, that's about it. See you next Mitch playing Goddamn Splatty.